Robert Chan settled into seat 2A with a quiet sigh of relief. The first-class upgrade had cost him nearly all his savings. But after 18 months of night shifts at the hospital and single parenting, his daughter Emma, he'd decided this flight to San Francisco deserved something special. It was Emma's 8th birthday trip, a promise he'd made to his late wife Sarah before she passed. Emma pressed her nose against the window, her dark pigtails bouncing with excitement. "Dad, look how tiny the cars are already." Robert smiled, running a hand through his graying hair. At 53, he'd learned that life's most precious moments often came, wrapped in the simplest packages. This trip wasn't just about Disneyland. It was about showing Emma that even when life knocked you down, you got back up. You kept your promises. The boarding process continued, and Robert noticed a commotion near the front of the plane. A young woman in her late 20s struggled down the aisle, balancing a crying infant, an overstuffed diaper bag, and a car seat. Her blonde hair fell in disheveled strands around her face, and tears streamed down her cheeks as the baby's wails grew louder. Behind her, a flight attendant spoke in hushed, apologetic tones. "Ma'am, I'm terribly sorry, but your seat is in economy. 23B, we're running behind schedule." The woman's voice cracked. I thought I'd upgraded. I paid for the upgrade online last week. My card was charged." "I understand, but there's no record of it in our system. I'm very sorry." The baby screamed louder, that particular pitch that makes everyone wince. Robert saw several first-class passengers exchange uncomfortable glances, clearly hoping the situation would resolve itself quickly. The young mother was practically hyperventilating now, trying to soothe her infant while rifling through her phone with one hand. "Please," she whispered. "He hasn't stopped crying since we left home. I haven't slept in 3 days. I just need a little space, a little quiet." Emma tugged on Robert's sleeve. "Dad, that baby sounds really sad." Robert looked at his daughter's concerned face, then at the exhausted mother, then at the spacious first-class seat beside him. He thought about Sarah, about the nights she'd walked the floors with infant Emma, about the kindness of strangers who'd helped them during her illness. He stood up. "Excuse me," Robert said gently, approaching the young woman. "I couldn't help but overhear. Would you like to trade seats? You and your baby can have mine here in first class. My daughter and I will take your seats in economy." The woman stared at him as if he'd spoken a foreign language. "What? No, I couldn't possibly." "Please," Robert said with a warm smile. "I insist. You need it more than we do. Besides, my daughter Emma here has been telling me she wants to meet new people on this flight. Isn't that right, sweetheart?" Emma nodded enthusiastically, catching on to her father's kindness. "Yeah, and I've never sat in the back of a plane before. It'll be an adventure." The flight attendant looked uncertain. "Sir, are you sure? You paid for first class." "I'm absolutely certain," Robert said firmly. "Some things matter more than comfortable seats." Tears welled up fresh in the young mother's eyes, but this time from gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you so much. I'm Jessica, and this is baby Michael. I don't know what to say." "No need to say anything," Robert replied. "Just take care of that little one. We've all been there." As Robert and Emma made their way to the back of the plane, he noticed several passengers watching. Some smiled approvingly. Others looked puzzled. But Robert didn't dwell on it. He'd learned long ago that you do the right thing not for recognition, but because it's right. Economy was crowded and noisy, but Emma seemed genuinely excited about the adventure. They squeezed into their seats and Robert helped her buckle in. "That was really nice what you did," said the elderly woman across the aisle. "Not many people would give up first class." Robert shrugged. "My wife used to say that kindness costs nothing but means everything. I'm just trying to live by her words." The flight proceeded smoothly after that. Robert and Emma shared pretzels, played word games, and looked through the airplane magazine together. He told her stories about her mother, about the time Sarah had helped a stranded family change a tire in the rain, about the meals she'd cooked for neighbors going through hard times. "Mom was really nice," Emma said thoughtfully. "She was," Robert agreed. "And you know what? Every time we're kind to someone, it's like keeping a little piece of her alive. Her spirit lives on through our actions." Emma seemed to understand. She nestled against his shoulder as the plane began its descent into San Francisco. After landing, as they waited in the aisle to deplane, Robert saw Jessica ahead with baby Michael, who was now sleeping peacefully. She turned and caught his eye, mouthing another, "Thank you." He nodded and smiled. But what happened next caught everyone by surprise. The pilot emerged from the cockpit and walked straight to Jessica. They spoke in low voices, and then the pilot approached Robert. "Mr. Chen?" the pilot said. "Could you and your daughter please come forward for just a moment?" Confused but compliant, Robert and Emma followed him to the front of the plane. Jessica stood there holding Michael, but now she looked completely different. Confident, composed, a woman in command. "Everyone," Jessica said in a clear, strong voice that carried through the cabin. "Could I have your attention for just a moment?" The deplaning passengers paused, curious. "My name is Jessica Whitmore," she said. "I'm the owner of Cascade Airlines. Today I was traveling incognito, testing our customer service from a passenger's perspective, specifically as a mother with an infant. I wanted to see how my staff and passengers would respond to a difficult situation." Murmurs rippled through the cabin. The flight attendants looked shocked. "What I witnessed today was disappointing and heartwarming in equal measure," Jessica continued. "Our booking system failed me. Our staff, while apologetic, didn't go above and beyond to solve the problem. But this man right here, Mr. Robert Chen, demonstrated the kind of humanity and compassion I wish I saw more often in the world." She turned to Robert directly. "You gave up something valuable without hesitation. You taught your daughter through your actions what it means to put others first, and you did it all expecting nothing in return." Robert felt his cheeks warm. "I just did what anyone would do." "But most people didn't," Jessica said gently. "That's the point. Mr. Chen, I'd like to offer you and Emma free flights on Cascade Airlines for the next 5 years. Anywhere we fly, first class, whenever you want. And more than that, I'd like to share your story with my company as an example of the values we should embody." Emma's eyes went wide. "Really, 5 years?" Robert was speechless. He'd given up that seat simply because it was right, not expecting any reward. But looking at his daughter's excited face, he felt Sarah's presence somehow, as if she were smiling down on this moment. "I don't know what to say," Robert finally managed. "Say you'll accept," Jessica said warmly. "And say you'll let me buy you both dinner in San Francisco tonight. I'd love to hear more about the woman who raised such a kind man." Robert felt tears prick his eyes. "She'd have liked you," he said quietly. "And yes, we'd be honored." As they finally exited the plane, Emma held her father's hand tightly. "Dad," she said, "this is the best birthday trip ever, and we haven't even gotten to Disneyland yet." Robert laughed, a deep, genuine laugh that came from somewhere he'd forgotten existed. "You know, sweetheart, I think your mom had something to do with all this." "You think so?" "I know so. She's always watching over us, making sure kindness comes back around." They walked through the terminal together, hand in hand, toward baggage claim and whatever adventures awaited them. And Robert realized that the upgrade he'd given away had returned to him multiplied, not just in free flights, but in the lesson his daughter had learned about grace, generosity, and the unexpected rewards of simply being human. Sometimes, he thought, the best seat isn't the most comfortable one. It's the one you offer to someone who needs it more. And that lesson was worth more than all the first-class seats in the world.